pretty excited to record this review, not specifically because of the movie, but just upgraded my phone. So I actually record these on my iPhone. I had the 5S and I just upgraded to the 7. So interested to see how the footage will look and then with the new phone. It has a really nice camera. Right now I have a weird backlight on me, so might not look the greatest, but we'll see. Anyways, so this will be my review for the movie MacGruber. Came out in 2010. I'd heard it was really funny. I just never really got around to watching it. I don't make it a point to see comedies in theaters very often. I don't think it's worth the extra cost to pay to see it in a theater, because a lot of times comedies, you don't really miss much from watching it at home versus the theater. So anyways, with the background of this, it started out as a Saturday Night Live skit, which actually I'd never seen any of the MacGruber skits. Kind of stopped watching Saturday Night Live maybe after I was like a teenager. After like Will Ferrell and all of them kind of left, I stopped watching. But anyways, I've seen Will Forte in quite a few things. He's really funny. I like him as a comedian and actor. So Will Forte does play MacGruber in SNL and then here in the movie. And it's, of course, a takeoff, a parody of MacGyver. So I don't want to get like all the way into like the skits or anything, but I'll just start with the movie. So here MacGruber is like underground. He's been in hiding since like the 80s, I guess, just doing his own thing. And then his arch nemesis is Dieter von Kunth, played by Val Kilmer here. That's pretty funny. He steals a nuclear warhead, so the government wants MacGruber's help to help find him, track him down, and get rid of him. So yeah, that's the basic story. Powers Booth plays Colonel Faith, so he's the government official trying to convince MacGruber to come back, and with him is like a young soldier, he might have been a lieutenant, Piper, played by Ryan Phillippe. So he wants to be on MacGruber's team, but he won't let him until a crazy incident happens, and so MacGruber is just left with no one to work with, at least not his own guys, and then he has to make a new team, and so he reluctantly lets Piper be in the group, and then along with him they go and get Vicky, who is played by Kristen Wiig, and Vicky's one of MacGruber's old friends. And so the three of them are tasked with finding Dieter von Kunth and finding out where the nuclear warhead is, dismantling it, or isolating it so it doesn't destroy the rest of the world. That's the basic plot. It's pretty straightforward, but I'd heard this movie was pretty funny, and it's hilarious. I guess I wasn't really too surprised. I really like Will Forte. This is directed by Jorma Katoni. I'm not sure how you say his last name, but he's a member of the Lonely Island guys from Saturday Night Live, and he also directed Pop Star, Never Stopping, which that was hilarious. That movie was really funny. And so when I knew like he was involved and all these really good actors and comedians, it makes sense that this really works. So Jorma and Will Forte also wrote this with another guy, John Solomon. I'm assuming he was involved like with the sketches too. I'm not really sure. But yeah, this movie is just hilarious. It starts out like such a cliche 80s like MacGyver send up, and just making fun of all that like perfectly. It's hilarious. So it has all this intense action that you'd see like in an 80s movie. It has like a Rambo opening scene where MacGruber is like a monk or a priest in a foreign village, that kind of thing. Everything's like really super backlit, kind of like my head is right now for some reason. I didn't do that on purpose, but it's really funny, especially at the beginning half of the movie or so. It's just like I don't know, Miami Vice or John Woo's shooting it. It's really funny. And it's really intentional. You can tell all of these things are intentional and they work really well. Um, I just wrote down like some of the stuff that was really funny. Um, all the characters work really well. Kristen Wiig and Ryan Phillippe are pretty good. I think, but overall, it's really Will Forte's movie, and he really sells it. Just as kind of, he thinks he's a super badass, but then he does it everything so weird and unnecessarily, like he's stuck in the 80s, that kind of thing, and he's got like the mullet. And one like little detail that's really funny is that he always carries around his stereo from his car, and it's like one that like pulls out of the console, and it's not a little stereo. It's like, I used to have like a little faceplate on my stereo, but this is like, he pulls like the whole thing. It's like a big brick out of the car, and he carries it around. Or if he's not carrying it, sometimes Ryan Phillippe's character is carrying it. It's just really funny, little things like that. There's like a random subtitle that I saw that was really funny. He says, I think it's MacGruber says, "You're loco, man," but then and it's subtitle, it says, "You're crazy, man." It's like the only subtitle like in the whole movie, and it's just, everybody knows what loco means in Spanish, so it's just a funny little thing that they added in there. His wife's backstory is really funny. I don't really want to say what it is, but that's hilarious. And then there's a sex scene that MacGruber has that is, oh my god, it's so funny because of, I don't even know how to like to describe it. Like, I saw this a while ago now, and just thinking of it's just so funny. Just the way Will Forte is acting in that scene. It's great. It's probably got to be like one of the funniest sex scenes that you'll see. And it kind of reminded me of like the style of the movie. It was like the South Park guys, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, or a lot of Team America kind of came into mind. That has a crazy funny sex scene as well. That tone, it has that similar tone to it, and especially with Team America, it's kind of making fun of action films, plus with puppets and stuff. I think that's a pretty good movie reference. Yeah, so that's like all my notes. Hilarious movie. I recommended it. If you're looking for a good comedy, it's rated R. It's pretty raunchy at times. No nudity that I can think of, but language, some violence, and it does get some. What I talk about and say is they get pretty vulgar with it, but I really liked it. It's really funny. Giving it a 4.5 out of 5, so very, very high recommendation. If you haven't seen the MacGruber character from Saturday Night Live, it doesn't really matter. I never seen it. And they don't really rely on the fact that you need to know who MacGyver is either. He does like MacGyver stuff, but it doesn't. Your understanding of the movie at all doesn't depend on that. So, kind of surprised they didn't do more MacGyver type stuff. I kind of wonder if they maybe do that more in the SNL skits, and so maybe that's why they didn't do it as much here. But either way, doesn't matter. It works. It's hilarious.